Hi, and welcome to this channel. It's a new channel. It's a channel I never expected to start. It's a channel I don't want to start, but in light of some things that have happened recently, I feel that it's necessary to start. I'm not actually going to start with the main trigger. I'm going to start with something that I found yesterday independent of that main trigger. And the fact that this is also out there makes it doubly scary and increases the reason why I need to make this channel. I do apologise for my freshly washed hair, but I've got some time now and I'm going to use it. So I was Googling for something yesterday and I came across a website that I believe I've heard of before. I'm not sure of its exact function. It's allnurses.com. I presume it's some kind of nurse educational chat site or something like that. Anyway, there's a thread that was opened about 6 months ago, so that would be October 2018, and the nurse that starts the thread, she acknowledges that the diseases that she mentions are real diseases that affect various people in different ways, and I'm thankful for that. However, what she's noticed, and what is very concerning, is that she's noticed a huge upswing in patients being admitted with the hEDS hypermobility type. The patients share very specific traits. They're chronically ill. They have a laundry list of diagnoses or claimed diagnoses, including Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, mast cell activation disorder, gastroparesis, POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, dysautonomia, mold toxicity or sensitivity, and then in brackets, but reactions don't occur when they don't wish them, say with friends visiting, and they're always on medical marijuana apparently. Now, being British, we don't have medical marijuana. I personally have tried legal CBD products, not found the oil that I can take orally or vape particularly helpful. Have found one ointment amazing and really like that, and would suggest it to anybody that has any kind of joint ache or anything like that. Then she goes on to say, they seem to be able to walk perfectly fine, but also have very sporty wheelchairs. They almost always have ports. Now, a port is, I'm not sure whether a port is a word for a specific type of semi-permanent intravenous access, or just a reference to any kind of semi-permanent intravenous access. But basically, they've got some kind of permanent intravenous access. Typically, they're able to eat when they want. They swallow pills when they want. But they have an extreme desire for GJ PEG tubes. Now, GJ is gastrojejunum, so that's kind of where the stomach starts to join the lower intestine. I don't know, again, the exact, whether PEG is a brand name or what, I don't know the exact nature of the tube. This is a specific type of tube that you can use for tube feeds, and I believe also for stomach emptying as well. And then as soon as they've got one of those, they immediately assist all of their medications go through it. Then it goes on to comment, they're always young, 20s or early 30s, and female. They appear healthy looking, and they demand and get tons of PRN IV Benadryl. So PRN is, can't remember exactly what it stands for. It's Latin, I think, but basically it's as needed. IV, intravenous, back to that port again. And Benadryl is not known by that in the UK where I'm from. It's known as Nitol, or diphenhydramine hydrochloride. That's the drug name. It's not actually available on prescription tablet form. I don't know what they use in hospitals if they need an IV equivalent, because Benadryl seems to be the go-to in the US. And I have had IV antihistamine in hospital in the UK, and I don't think it was. No, I know it wasn't Benadryl, but I don't know if that was because they couldn't do Benadryl, or if because Benadryl just wouldn't have been the best choice at the time. So that was one original nurse pointing out that she'd seen multiple patients like this, which is quite concerning. And quite quickly, somebody else rolls in with another response that it's not specifically EDS, but it's idiopathic gastroparesis. Now, gastroparesis is where the stomach is partially to fully paralysed, so it's very, very slow in emptying, if at all, and you can literally starve with gastroparesis. And idiopathic is just spontaneous, of unknown cause. And her classification of the patients is they're always young women, white, middle-class backgrounds, but with a history of sexual abuse, parental divorce that was poorly dealt with, or bullying. They all mostly went to the same private school, so this is presumably one nurse in a specific location, and she's seeing a stream of people from a particular school. And also she noticed, so they're all underweight, so gastric emptying studies are inconclusive. And as far as I understand it, the gastric emptying study would be what would confirm the diagnosis of gastroparesis. They all want pegs. The peg is something I referred to before, the GJ peg. And then when that stops fulfilling their needs, whatever these needs actually are, they want a poor Hickman's. That's a different type of peripheral IV line. They want home IV fluids, which is a classic one that I've seen in other places being related to people with POTS, even though it's far from the first line of treatment. And eventually they want home TPN, which is total parental nutrition. It's just a type of nutrition you get entirely through your veins. And also this particular nurse has noticed that when one is admitted, another will turn up a day later. They're really manipulative, and they have staff splitting skills. They have minimal engagement with mental health services, and many have eating disorders as well. So this is presenting a very concerning picture. We know for sure that Munchausen syndrome exists. It is a thing. And although we've no evidence that these particular patients are presenting themselves on the internet as well as to these hospitals, there's plenty of chronic illness vlogs and blogs and other things on the internet, and you can get a lot of information about all of these things out there. That's why I know the names of these things, not because they've happened to me, because most of them haven't, but I've learned about people's tubes and IV lines because I've watched a handful of vlog channels, or just even general information channels, that have fed me these things. And I don't watch them a lot, but it's amazing how much information you can pick up really quite quickly, especially if you do have the kind of somewhat medically minded brain that I have, where you can retain information very easily and have a good understanding of very medical conditions. But it does make me start to wonder if the fact that we do have the internet is actually making Munchausen syndrome more prevalent, because now not only can we get attention from doctors and nurses and carers, we can get attention from all these people on the internet who tune in to hear the ups and downs of our day-to-day journeys. And, people are dying. And that's why the email address that I have attached to this channel is "Don't let the munchies get you." It's because I want to speak to people who have rare diseases, but I want them to protect themselves. I want them to be careful. I want them to know when to get a second opinion and to fight for more help. But I also want them to know when to listen to their doctors and to not end up getting themselves in a mess that I've seen some other young women, and it is women, I don't know why, that I've seen some other young women get themselves into. And this is something that I really care about, because I have some of these chronic illnesses, and yet I've watched these videos and I've seen that I've not had those interventions, but I have had to fight at times to get help. I've had to fight to get diagnoses. I have had to drop a doctor, get a second opinion, but what I've never done is just rejected somebody's treatment outright and gone doctor shopping to get a specific surgery. But it has been an eye-opener to me that I've realised that with the baseline conditions that I do have, that I probably could, especially in a system in the US, which is insurance-based and where the HIPAA laws prevent a lot of information sharing without the patient's consent. And if you just lie a little bit, they don't even know there's information to get. So I guess I want to warn people that these people are out there, and I want to help people pull back and look after themselves if they're also affected by chronic illness. I'm gonna be back again soon with some more information. Nice to speak to you all. Bye.